You're watching this video most likely from a phone, possibly a computer or a TV, and if you're really freakish, maybe even a smartwatch.
Hey man, you okay? What are you doing here? Everything all right at home?
But regardless of your chosen device, all of them are made up of a combination of red, blue, and green blips, tricking your stupid reptilian brain that what you're seeing is real, three-dimensional, and filled with millions of colors. And since gaming consoles and displays have grown and evolved over time, gaming has tried to keep up, and for decades it did, with enormous graphical leaps that would genuinely, instantly antiquate what came before it. And if you grew up in the 90s like me, you would have seen modern gaming evolve from this to this, and before my childhood, you'd have moved from arcades to in-home gaming to crazy visuals in your pocket. But if you're growing up now or just getting into gaming in the last 10 or so years, you would have seen modern games go from this to this. But somehow the prices to make and play these things have gone from this to this. What? We are no longer living in a time of meaningful graphical evolution, and half the time we seem to be going straight fucking backwards with a monstrously higher development cost too. But why, when we look back at two different titles, really from any era, one striving for realism and the other a defined art style, we reliably get the same conclusion? One will soon be replaced by a slightly different looking, equally as expensive to produce product, but style is forever. Ray tracing! I'm sorry, that seemed a little aggressive, but I'm being serious. We've spent years and millions of dollars trying to get reflections and lighting to look slightly better for a very small number of systems and hardware, and all we got was an unoptimized setting that half the time nukes your frame rate so you can take really pretty screenshots and play the game in an objectively worse manner.
Hey, hi, why don't we put the same time and energy into researching a better optimization strategy so everyone can enjoy every...
This isn't coming from someone that can't run it. I have a
top-of-the-line gamer PC, and
still the first thing I do when I start a game is turn off motion blur and ray tracing. Wow, now it's actually a good game that runs and looks good.
Yeah, but check this out.
Mario and Unreal Engine 5, out now! But the argument for or against this, for me, doesn't only come from a place of aesthetic, because I'm sure with time it'll eventually get better. It also comes from a financial one. The entire newly named AA and higher gaming industry are frantically trying to make their games look as ridiculously next-gen as possible. But newsflash, dipshits, the next-gen doesn't fucking exist anymore! We've reached gargantuan levels of diminishing returns here, but we're somehow simultaneously chasing the dragon of progress with 100 times more money than ever before. Development costs have ballooned by tens of millions of dollars, which means the prices of games have ballooned with it. Everyone is frantically spending every resource for 1% improvements, and temp jobs, layoffs, and rotating doors are common in the gaming industry now. But I know I don't need to explain how horrible the current game development landscape is, but maybe you haven't considered some of the reasons as to why it exists. Many companies have fallen in love with the video part more than the game part. See, the AAA gaming industry loves marketing, often more than developing. They love flashy trailers, banner ads, slogans, catchphrases, and numbers on a screen that mean absolutely nothing because it allows them to pander to their shareholders.
We are the future! They are the stupid...
Oh man, the new AI-powered glunch board with 90 billion terashits of mega slop! You'll be blasting off at 14,000 frames of... What are you playing?
It's a 2D Metroidvania that honestly could probably run on a Sega Saturn.
It's unsustainable from the development to the marketing. Attempting to optimize your futuristic next-gen title for 1,000 different rigs and brands of hardware is a logistical nightmare. And the price of that nightmare is passed on to the consumer in either rising costs or broken games. Accessibility matters, optimization matters. Video games were never supposed to cost hundreds of millions of dollars, but now that they do, we should be striving for more innovative gameplay, ways to connect people and push the boundaries on what makes a video game fun. Oh, but the trailer and the extremely curated gameplay reveal looks so good, right? Look at the reflective puddles!
Oh, fuck. I don't look at the puddles. Do not look at the puddles.
Like video games, you know what else is also expensive to produce? Animation, and I actually like to pay my team and make sure that they have food.
I did not say you could have two hot dogs!
This video is sponsored by Crystal of Atlan and their new crossover with Digimon? What? Crystal of Atlan is a brand new, super sleek, combo-filled, class-splitting, boss-fighting MMO ARPG set in a stylized magic punk world. It's got like 17 different classes to choose from, all unlocked from the start. No character gotcha needed.
I appreciate that.
Each having over 20 skill combinations. The combat legitimately feels really good here. Which brings me to the new Digimon collaboration event that literally just went live. Machine Dramon, one of the sickest Digimon, is invading Atlan as a full-on raid boss that you can tackle either solo or with a party of 4. You can also snag Digivolving pets like Agumon and Gatomon is completely free, as well as a bunch of other free, limited-time Digimon rewards. There's also collab mounts, Garurumon and Metal Garurumon, that both have special movement boosts. So, if you're into tightly designed combat, solo or with a group, well-designed boss battles, competitive PvP, or just straight-up stylized, color-coded visuals and magic technology-fused character designs, check out my link below. And thanks again to Crystal of Atlan for sponsoring this one. Go and send them some love for supporting your boy. Back to the video. Bliblioblames, shockingly, actually haven't been impacted by inflation as much as you may think. In the 90s, PS1 games were $50, and Nintendo 64 games were often $60 to $70 fucking dollars. Fun fact, that's actually where the 64 comes from, because it was 64, never mind. Adjusted for inflation, that would be like $100 to nearly $150 a pop for each game.
All I got was goddamn clay fighters.
Wait, hold up, this game rules. But the cost to make and market a game now is like nothing we've ever seen before. Halo 3's budget was around $50 million, and that included a world-class, one-of-a-kind marketing campaign that took the planet by storm. While Halo Infinite's was rumored to have a budget of nearly $500 million, a 1,000% increase. And as much as I truly love many aspects of that game, it released with a fraction of Halo 3's original content, and the marketing wasn't anything near Halo 3's.
So where is the money going?
Well, game dev teams are armies now. Keeping up with modern hardware is beyond difficult, the marketing world is wider and more saturated than ever, shipping physical games is becoming a detriment, and post-release support is now mandatory. This is why the prices of games are skyrocketing. Subscription-based models that allow companies to pre-plan budgets are getting more popular, and microtransactions and bleed pricing is getting more commonplace. And if we want all of these things to stop, I'm not kidding when I say games need to be smaller, look less good, and developers need to be paid more. Blockbuster franchises used to take a few years to make, if that. Now it takes a damn decade to make a single game because the expectations are so ludicrously high. That's why indie titles, stylized titles, innovative, weird titles are becoming so popular as of late. And yes, R&D is worth something. Yes, it's in our best interest to strive for better. And yes, we should always be trying to evolve our art. But can we wait until it's more fucking affordable? Nintendo, I feel, is a perfect example that encompasses all the good and bad here. Check this out. Nintendo launches an extremely affordable console that breaks nearly every record ever, but it runs on leapfrog hardware and a dream. Most of their games look extremely good, even on the weaker hardware, because again, a concrete style is worth far more than high-fidelity realism and graphics. But because of that same lacking hardware, some games run poorly or are forced to make optimization cuts either in graphics or frame rate. So what does Nintendo do? They work on a second console, this time far more powerful than the last, one that can run modern-looking games but maintains the hybrid gimmick. This causes the price to jump up, and even though it's still on the mid-end of modern consoles, it's seen as greedy, despite gamers begging for this exact upgrade.
But I don't want the price!
Then why did you ask for it? Now, games being $70 to $80 is complete bullshit. It's not the highest we've ever seen by a long shot, but it's also obviously not the cheapest, and the new tariffs and trade war doesn't make things easier at all. Why do old Pokemon sprites still ooze charm, but every 3D Pokemon game somehow looks worse than the last? Why are indie games coming out faster than ever, toppling AAA studios and claiming so many awards? How do these smaller gaming experiences, sometimes made by a single individual, garner such massive loving fan bases? Balatro, Vampire Survivors, Slay the Princess, Inscription, Animal Well, Pizza Tower, Blueprints. Because a refined art style will always age better than the skin pores of the month. Because you can tell an emotional story, no matter your poly count, and because bold and defined visuals let your game stand apart and speak for themselves, no matter the budget. Just take a look at Expedition 33, a small team's first project, an outstandingly beautiful title that blends the two design philosophies together, sacrificing neither while making a visually distinct and affordable game. By the way, this is like one of the best games I've played in the recent decade. If it doesn't win Game of the Year, I might actually like lose my mind. And this isn't like nostalgia glaze either. This effect happens time and time again, and not just with modern indie games, the gaming industry as a whole. Look, Last of Us is an incredible game. No argument there. One of my favorites, and obviously a very high fidelity and pretty game, especially for 2013. And by the way, do you want your brain to like fucking melt? Last of Us released a year before Dark Souls 2. Yeah, what?
But do we really need to remaster The Last of Us so many times to the point where you can't tell the fucking difference?
What the fuck's the point of this? What the hell does this mean? You all are spending millions on something I can't
Fucking say!
Now, none of these arguments mean bunk shit if I can't point you towards a modern game that encompasses all of the attributes I'm seeking in a title. Affordable for the consumer, low development costs, balanced and sustainable work environment, gameplay first framework, kinda indie but kinda not indie, no long bloated playtime, stylized graphics that will age beautifully, heart, soul, and dare I say it,
Fun? What the hell? A game's priority being fun?
I give you one of the most innovative, impressive, and genuinely fun games ever created, where there unironically wasn't a 5-minute gap at any point where I wasn't smiling ear to ear. I could sum up this title in one word, it would be hybrexneotheristic, which I made the fuck up because there's no actual fucking word in the English language that can describe how good this game is. From the very first second to the last, this game assaults your senses with a bombardment of creative ideas, only to throw them away 5 minutes later so they can fit in another dozen crazy mechanics into the same section of the same level. It's downright baffling how many fun and interesting gameplay ideas are packed into this 12-hour game and how often they build off of them multiple times. Not only is Split Fiction insanely fun, but it's optimized beautifully, runs like butter, and looks so damn good. I've never seen a studio flex how comfortable and confident they are like this. It seems like every art asset, set piece, landscape, color, style, and effect was lovingly crafted with zero internal friction. Everything is on full display here with unabashed passion and heart. This game is a 10, but it's not just a 10. It's a 10 that also has a buddy pass, so your co-op partner doesn't even need to pick the already affordable game up to play the entire experience. It's a 10 that pursued a timeless, cost-effective, beautiful art style. It's a 10 that prioritized the player over the profits. It's a 10 that proved you can still develop a Game of the Year contender without spending hundreds of millions of dollars. But maybe, most importantly, it's a 10 that I know I can replay in 20 years and it will still be as good as I remember it.